Hey everyone, so in this video we are going to take a look at KenShape. KenShape is a new easy to use 3D modeling application. Basically what you do, you draw a 2D image and then KenShape will extrude that into a 3D object. And then on a block by block basis, you can say how many blocks it extrudes out. So for instance, you can draw a circle and then it extrudes out making a tunnel or a pipe, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a quick project, and then you can decide for yourself if this is something that would be useful to you. So this does take a block by block approach, but the final graphics are less voxel and more just low poly. So if you're familiar with the Unity store, I'd say like Cinti Studios, that kind of approach. That's the kind of look I would say that you would get. So let's go ahead and we'll just click on 16 by 16 and we'll just make a sword. It's not going to be, again, it's not going to really be a voxel Minecraft sword. It's just going to be more of a low poly sword. And one of the reasons for this is this actually supports shapes that Minecraft and applications like that don't typically support. You can see this has an overt curvature to it, and this has a mid-block point and things like that. So rather than just trying to do everything with a block, you actually do have these other shapes. So you have actually 4 versions of each one of these. You can just rotate with the scroll wheel. Over here, you have the color palette. This is something that the developers have overtly called out, and they said that you can only have 16 colors per object. I don't know if they did that for aesthetic reasons or if there's some kind of technical limitation, but right now you can only choose 16 colors. You don't have to use these 16 colors. You can click on this icon up here and load another PNG, and that PNG could have 16 different colors, but per object, you can only use 16 colors. Again, I don't know if that was for aesthetic purposes or if it's a technical limitation, but for now, in the final product, you can only have 16 colors. I do want to call out this is a new application. It's version 1.0, and the group Kenny that makes these applications, they tend to support them for a very long time. Like, I think it was over a year ago, I bought Asset Forge, and there have been numerous updates to that. So I'm not part of the team, so I can't say for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does get supported going forward. So let's go ahead and draw our 2D sword. So we'll click on the point, we'll click on gray, we'll click there, we'll rotate and click there. We'll go back to the block, we'll left click and hold. Let's go ahead and actually, we'll get rid of those two. It's a little bit too long. So if you right click, it will erase. So left click is to draw, right click is to erase. Now let's go ahead and draw the hilt. We'll use a slightly darker color. We'll use that one. And then we'll continue to use the block. Now, as I mentioned, you do have a mid-block point. So what you can do is you can click on that, and you can just add a point, and we'll rotate. And then we'll add a handle. So what we'll do is we'll make that even darker, and we'll go back to block. And then what we'll do is we'll add like a gem at the end here. So we'll click on like green, and then we'll click on the semicircle. We'll just click, rotate, click, and that's it for drawing. So if we click on depth, you get a preview down here. And as you can see, like it's really not, like I said, it's really not, it takes a voxel approach, but the end graphics really isn't voxel. It's like I said, just more low poly like Cinti Studios, someone like that. Okay, so we don't want this to have all the same depth. So let's make the hilt wider. So as you can see, everything has a 1. That means it's 1 block. So over here where the colors were, you can now choose how many blocks. Let's actually just make this 2. So you just click and drag. So even this, it's kind of like painting. You're just dragging numbers. And you can see the hilt is now wider than the blade. And then for the gem here, we can make that wider. So we can just make those 2s. Now, if the blade was an odd amount, say rather than being 2 blocks wide, if it was 3, then that middle one, we could make a different number so there was like a groove. So we could make the hilt say 3, the outside of the blade 2, and then you could have a groove 1. So you could do something like that. So let's just go back over here. I'll erase this, but I just want to demonstrate what I was talking about. So let's do this, and then let's do this, and then let's do this, and then we'll do blade. So what we would do with this is you could make the hilt or the handguard 3. I always forget if this horizontal piece is the hilt or the handguard. So 3, and then the blade would be 2. And then see, now you have a groove there. And then you would just have a point. So this one it would be a little bit tougher to do. Could we use, actually, could we do that? But then nothing would really look right at the point because this one has flat edges. So that actually wouldn't look right. So it would be kind of tough to do with the current tool set that couldn't make it really pointed with the current tool set that we have. So anyways, but you could do that. So if you look at that, you can see that you could do like a groove. So you can really make complex shapes. So even though it's taken that 2D image, because you can do a block by block extrusion, you can actually make it fairly complex. And then after you've done that, so you got your preview, you can just rotate this horizontally but not vertically. And again, it's really not a voxel graphic. It looks, again, just low poly in general. And to me, this would be great for, say, proof of concept, your testing where you're basically just seeing if this even works. So you would use placeholder graphics. And never underestimate how helpful that can be to be able to make quick, cheap graphics. And I say cheap because you're doing this yourself. That costs you nothing but time and very little time. So I'm very fond of applications like this that lets you make, if nothing else, placeholder graphics. But again, you might be going for a low poly look, and this might be what you want for your final graphics. So there's certainly nothing wrong with that. You think of things like, was it Totally Realistic Battle Simulator? They're not terribly detailed. So that might be the aesthetic you're going for. And then the final thing is export, and you just have a variety of choices. You can choose 3D, and then you can choose what format. OBJ and FBX are both used by Unity. I'm not sure about Unreal. I don't use Unreal. Do you want the texture to be an atlas or unwrapped? I would recommend looking those up because it does make a difference and really beyond the scope of this video. Optimized, voxel, and then GIF. So this is turning it into a 2D image. So I think that's about it. So if there's anything you'd like to see modeled, just let me know and I can do that. But I think this is a fairly straightforward, simple to use application. Maybe I'll do a single like modeling marathon just so you can see a bunch done all at once rather than making a bunch of tiny little videos. Um, so I think that should about do it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is version 1.0. It's brand new. The team does a really good job supporting their other applications. I think I mentioned it already. If I didn't, I bought Asset Forge from the same developer, and that they did continue to support that and add features to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does get some decent updates. And again, it probably depends on what kind of support it gets. So this is available on itch.io. Its price is $3.99 USD. So for the price of a cup of coffee, or if you're like me, a hot chocolate, you now have a nice 3D modeling application that again you can get your low poly 3D models. Okay, so I hope you found this useful, and please enjoy the rest of your day.